you today? My name is Shannon and this is my YouTube channel, Whisky and Wool. You're watching Knitter's Life Series Season 6. Is it episode 6? I think so. I should have looked, but I often don't. I often just set up and the light's really great right now and I need to record. Anyway, how are you doing? I hope you're doing well. I am coming to you from northern New Jersey where I work and live. And I live right along the Hudson River across from New York City. And yeah, we have a winner for the yarn that I was giving away. I just wanted to explain a little bit about my process. I reached out to the winner. She gave me her address. Her yarn is going to get posted in the mail by early next week. I'm not going to say by tomorrow. I just got her address a couple days ago. And my post office, my local post office, is closed on the weekends. They're only open Monday through Friday. So finding some time to go and mail it is a little tricky. Time during the week, I should say. So I'm committed to getting that out to her. Anyway, just to let you know, I got 56 comments on my last video where I was offering the giveaway. And everyone posted with a yarn emoji to indicate that they were interested in the yarn, and a couple people did not know what the yarn emoji was and said, I don't know what it is, but I'm interested in the yarn, so that worked too. But I had 56 56 unique comments, I should say, and I put them in a list, and then I used a random number generator and between 1 and 56, and it picked the number 15, and then that made that particular person, I don't want to share her name because she didn't tell me I could share her name, won the drawing for the 4 skeins of yarn that are not near me, but it's 4 skeins of yarn that I got from Wing and a Prayer Farm around 2019 or so, and I had bought more of the same yarn in a slightly different color. And then I knit a sweater out of it. So I had 4 skeins that I was like, I don't need another sweater this same color with this same yarn. I'm willing to do a giveaway. So I did a giveaway with that yarn my last episode. So yeah, congratulations to the winner. Hope you enjoy your yarn, and I will get that in the post to you this week. So welcome. I'm going to talk to you today about knitting and spinning, and I will have a little bit of a kitchen update. I wish I had more exciting news, but, you know, there's not the drama that there was last time, that I can tell you. Things are moving, but I'll get into some details a little bit later. Yeah, so I have a finished object. It is almost finished, actually. I need to put the buttons on, which I think I'm going to use these really cute rainbow flowers that I picked up at a craft event a while ago. These are really a departure for me in terms of buttons for my sweaters. I tend to use, I think when I bought them, I thought I would use them for my only granddaughter, my only grandchild. I thought I would use it on something for her. But they actually look really good on here. So, what am I wearing? I am wearing the Fatherland sweater. I think it's actually Fatherland pullover. And I cardiganized it. I haven't quite woven in all my ends. And I'm going to take it off, actually. It's really warm today, and I'm just wearing a t-shirt by Matterroot Designs that I picked up at Maryland Sheep and Wool last year. But I think I can show this to you better, not on me. I will say, as the past couple episodes that I've talked about, the sweater, the yellow is quite subdued on screen, and I will have some clips where I'm showing you different things where you'll get a better version of the yellow. And that's another reason, besides that it's warm today, I'm not going to wear it throughout the episode because it will throw the colors off and the camera will struggle to portray other colors as a result. The camera struggles with blue shades generally, so as cameras do. So anyway, here is my finished sweater. I'm just showing you the back half. It's got this really pretty floral motif with like these 1 stitch by 1 stitch sort of medallion, half medallions at the top, and then in the pattern, in the pullover, you do a version of that medallion on your sleeve cuffs. I took that sleeve cuff motif and put it on the bottom of the sweater as well. And what you're seeing here with the striping is just the way the yarn self-striped. There aren't changes of, there's not color changes in there in terms of me switching up what I'm using. It was just the way the hand spun that I was using striped completely. And although I do have to say I'm pretty excited that the cuffs ended up with this green tip. They're not exactly the same, but and the beginning of the sweater, which it's a top down, so I started with the neckband, also began in green. So that was kind of a really nice fortuitous happenstance. I mean, you can see that the green popped in and out throughout. I did do a little bit of color management only because there was the pale, I don't actually have it, it's right there. I don't want to open this cupboard though because it'll hit my chair, but I did pull out some pale yellow, like a pale gold, that I just thought wasn't going to pop enough on the yellow background. So I just hand wound a little ball off of it until I got to the shades of pink, orange, or green, or blue. Actually, there was some blue in there too. You can see blue down here, popped in down here, and it also popped in here on this cuff. Yeah, so a couple people did ask me to talk a little bit more about the changing a pullover into a cardigan. I have video of the steek, what you do to steek, coming up. But generally speaking, what you do is choose how you're going to break up the motif, and in this case, this flower right here was dead center on the pullover, so I removed the center line of the color work, replaced it with 5 columns of stitches that became what was where you just alternate one color, or when I got to the yellow, I was just knitting across those 5 stitches like it was part of the body. And then those 5 stitches become your steeking stitches that you then use to do a couple steps to create the opening. So it didn't really take a lot of brain power in terms of like where I just had to remember when I was doing the motif, my beginning of row, instead of being on the shoulder or wherever the back neck, maybe wherever the designer had the beginning of row, I just moved the beginning of row over to here, and then had to just count backwards, to where the color work would start. And I just made a mark on the chart that was provided of where, okay, this is my beginning of row, and then I just did everything else as is. Like I did the same increases. It didn't change anything with any of that. It just changed like where the beginning of row was and such. Yeah, and so I have a little clip here. I think I'm talking through it. If it sucks, if the audio sucks, I will talk over it. But go ahead and watch that where I just explain a little bit about the steeking. I thought I'd just show you real quick some of the steps about when you change a pullover into a cardigan. So you may have heard me speaking about it before, but there were 5 columns of stitches between right at the center front. So after you're done knitting the whole thing, block it, try it on, make sure it fits. I tried this on, it fits beautifully. I'm so happy with the fit. And then you do these crochet reinforcements on either side of the center stitch, which is frequently called stitch 3. So there'll be stitch 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 columns. So you do this reinforcement down either side, which basically is splitting the stitch 3, column 3 right in the middle. And then what I'll do is cut right down the center in that channel. But before you do that, you knit the front bands. So I've cast on and I've partially knit and made buttonholes on the right side of the cardigan. And when I'm done with this one, I'll then be picking up the same number of stitches on this side, and I am catching that neckband so here. So I'll be picking up stitches and then going up here as well. And then also down here on the waistband. So I also did not do the column of 5 stitches between the rib waistband because you're just doing 1 by 1. So going back and forth, doing 1 by 1 is the same as going in the round and doing 1 by 1. So it worked just fine. And then all of these stitch markers are just indicating where I made the buttonholes. I just marked the stitches before I did my knit 2 together yarn over for a buttonhole. So yeah, that's the basic steps. Tin Can Knits has a really detailed how-to for how to steek a cardigan with talking to you about the crochet reinforcements, like step by step. If you've never crocheted before, they will tell you. I'll put the link down in my description box so you can take a look at that if you're interested in doing the same. And I will be doing this again because one of my new cast-ons is doing the same exact thing, taking a pullover pattern and turning it into a cardigan. I'm excited. I really love the way this came out. I'm so interested. All right, and you also got to see the color there. And I will say too, I did try on, I think I said this in the video, I did try on the sweater before I cut it when it just had steeks. I have a picture of that, so I'll put that on screen so you could see what that looked like. I thought the fit was perfect. It fit me beautifully. I actually wore it around the house a little bit as a pullover because I just really loved the feel of it. And then I was like, well, time to do the steeking. So I did those the crochet columns, and then I went ahead and picked up stitches. What's interesting, this one's not so bad, but the other side, there's quite a lot of waviness, which I guess can happen like with the crochet. You see that? I haven't done the part where you go back and stitch this down, so I will do that when as part of the finishing, where you stitch this part down. What happens when you go back in and block if you're not using superwash? And I have a mix here of some fiber that's superwash and some that is not. You get a little bit of felting of the stitches, which is really great. So that like kind of holds all your raw, like from the cut edges. And on the actual steek thing, you don't see any raw stitches at all. I mean, I have done steeks before where the crochet just comes right off, and that's because I used a superwash yarn. So I can't remember if this yellow fiber, so the yellow is also hand spun. I bought the yellow, the bright dyed fiber. It was merino that I bought from Pancake and Lulu. I bought it, I think, last summer because I was really wanting a jolt of color in my spinning. So I And then I had some natural white Cormo in my stash, and I took some of the neon yellow and with the white, I took comparable amounts and spun those together. I combo drafted them, and the resulting yarn ended up like, I think you can see it a bit. Yeah, see the striping that happened? That's a result of me doing the combo spin. So there were sections that were more primarily yellow and some that were more primarily white. And in person, that natural almost looks like pale pink, like a real soft pink. It's kind of funny what the yellow does, but I like it. It's fine. Like, it's subtle. It's very subtle. You have to get pretty close to see the effect. It gives it kind of an effective texture. The other thing that I'm probably going to do, although I won't do it right away because I'm in the middle of this renovation, and I feel like I live in a hoarder's house right now because there are piles of boxes everywhere. And I have somewhere, actually think I might, if I can put my hands on them easily, I'm going to look in one place. If they happen to be there, I will probably finish the front inside with a ribbon. So I have a whole bunch of ribbons that I purchased from a woman who had a ton of vintage ribbons from the 60s and 70s and 80s, and she, maybe even the 90s, she was put them together in lots and then just was selling them on Etsy. She's long since stopped doing that thing because she sold all the ribbons she had. So I bought a lot, and like one lot, not a lot. So yeah, I bought a single lot mystery bag of ribbons from her. So I have those, and they've been really useful in finishing off my, like, just stitching down ribbon, like just with needle and thread, hand sewing it down to just close up this here. It doesn't need it though. What that does do though, it does make this sweater last longer. It provides stability on a button band, which is a section of your sweater which is going to get a lot of tugging and pressure if you wear it. So and the only reason I'm not doing that, I'm not rushing to do that, is because of the renovation, not because of any other reason. I do have to resolve my ends here as well. But yeah, overall, I'm so happy with it. And this was a surprisingly fast knit, considering that I knit it on US size 4. The ribbing was US size 2 needles, so very small needles. It's fingering weight. And yeah, which is my favorite weight of sweater to wear. Yeah, I can get the most wear out of fingering weight because it really can take you straight through those transitional months, the spring and the fall, and then on warmer days in winter, it's or you can layer them up. So I do really love my fingering weight sweaters. Of course, they're not the most fun to knit because they take time, but yeah, this one was really worth it. Really fun. I'm so happy with this. Yeah, is there anything else I need to tell you? There weren't any other mods that I did aside from, I did a few more decreases on the sleeve. The sleeves seemed really big to me, although on the body they seem fine. But while I was knitting them, I think I got a little bit of shrinkage, but while I was knitting them, they seemed big. And then we didn't really decrease all that many stitches. You do a series of decreases every, 7 or 8 rows. I forget what it is. And then when you get to here, there aren't any decreases here. This is just the color work pulling it in. And then after that with the ribbing, it seemed like it kind of was too big. So I did a series of decreases a couple rows after the ribbing. Or maybe like 1 row after the ribbing. I just did a series of decreases to bring it down even smaller. I'm really glad I did that because I didn't want the cuff to be loose. Like, I didn't want space between my wrist and the cuff. Yeah, this was fun. It's just so pretty. I can't wait to wear it. I'm gonna get those buttons sewed on hopefully this afternoon. so that I can wear it this week. I may even wear it tomorrow if I have it done and it's mild enough. But our weather, we're having typical spring weather for the area that I live in, where it's like 50 one day and then it goes down to the 30s at night and then slow climbing up again to, like, it could be 40s, 30s, high of 30s, high of 40s, high of 50s, just depending on the day. All right. Moving on to whips. That was my one finished object. I wish I had more, but that's okay. My other whip is my Woven Checks Shawl by Stephen West. I didn't make all that much more progress, I don't think. It's starting to reach the point where the rows take quite a while, because you cast on down here, just a few stitches, cast on at this point here, and then you're slowly increasing on this one side. And you can see it grows and grows. And I have been sneaking in extra increases from time to time, just so that, because I don't have the amount of yardage that the pattern called for, so I wanted to ensure that I got enough of a length that this is the edge that will wrap around my neck. So I wanted to make sure I had enough length. I think I'm going to be fine. I think I'm right around halfway done with the skein. So again, I'm using hand spun. This is some beautiful, the most expensive fiber I've spun. It's by a sheep breed that is only in New Zealand. It's as far as I understand, it's a fairly small flock. They're called Haunai, and it's a very luxurious fiber. It's very soft. I guess the micron count is quite high, right? Higher means finer, I think. I should know this. I do know this. It's just talking about it without expecting to talk about it. I am fumbling. So yes, Haunai fibers, dyed by Inglenook Fibers, which is a nunnery up in Massachusetts, and there are at least 2 fiber dyers there who put fiber out in the world via their website. Highly recommend. They do a lot of nature-inspired colors and things. I don't remember what this color was called. Oh, I have the tag, in case you're wondering. Oh, it's called Tranquility. But it was basically like, as you see here, like a soft blue through like a turquoise bright blue with a chocolatey brown. And I did a 3-ply fractal where you divide the fiber 3 times, the whole length, and then one piece you spin end to end, and that's one bobbin. Your second bobbin, you divide that piece again, and then spin the 2 parts end to end, and then the third one, which becomes your third bobbin, the third piece, you divide 4 times or 3 times, more if you want, and then that gives you this really pretty sort of oops, I was about to show you the back. Well, the back is fine. This beautiful color striping vibe. I'm in the midst of like a brown stripe right now, and then I think there's a third brown stripe, and there's more turquoise and light blue coming up as well. I am pairing this hand spun with this unique yarn. I've never seen anyone else make this, but you could see it's like mohair sparkle. It's called Kira Kira, and it's by Moondrake. She's a dyer, I think she's in Oklahoma City. This particular color is called Moon. You can see it's 35% kid mohair, 35% merino, 22% nylon, and 8% lurex, which is the sparkle. It's really interesting. It is plied rather than core spun like a mohair silk is, and occasionally I find my needle splits it. I'm working with, I'm on US size 4 or 3.5 millimeter needles. So not terribly small, but, you know, pretty typical for fingering weight yarn. And then you're doing this slip stitch mosaic stitch. So you're only knitting with one color at a time, and you're slipping stitches to get this check formation. But it's really cool. I really love it. I do have, so the yardage on the Kira Kira is 546 yards. So it's similar to mohair for one skein. I do have another skein of this, although I don't know. This is is forming the garter sections of the sweater, or sorry, shawl, like these garter bumps, and that is the yarn that uses more yardage than, that needs more yardage than the color changing. So the color changing is less yardage, which I think the pattern called for something like 550 yards, and I have a little shy of 500 yards. So whenever this is, like, the cool thing about the way this shawl is constructed, whenever I run out of this one, my shawl is done. And I'll just, you know, I'll make sure I save enough so that I can do the bind off. Or I could just bind off with the fuzzy yarn. So I might do that. I'll have to see how it goes. So that is this pattern. It's really, really pretty. I just love the colors, and I really felt like that very expensive fiber that made gorgeous yarn needed to be something special. Oh, and I should say too, there is a silk content. There is a it's a 70-30 blend, so there is silk in that. So this, regardless of what I put this in, the drape on this is going to be pretty good. So it's suitable for a shawl, definitely. I knew this was going to be a bit of a slow knit. When I cast it on, I knew I would not necessarily prioritize it all the time in my knitting, nor would I crank through it by any stretch of the imagination, just because I knew, like with a mosaic stitch, it was going to take some time. And then also, you know, I have plenty of shawls, so I guess I'm a little less motivated. Even though it's beautiful and I love it and I'm enjoying making it. Okay. My sock. I made some progress. I was in a very long meeting in the last couple weeks. Couple really long meetings. So we're knitting the DRK Andrea Mowry Bear Paw pattern / DRK Everyday Sock pattern. I modified the DRK Everyday Sock so that I could make that pattern using DK weight. And that's been my go-to sock for a long while, for years. And she, around the time that I did the modification, like right shortly after I had knit a couple pairs, she published her Bear Paw. But she uses a US size 4 3.5 millimeter, and I'm using a 3 millimeter needle. Yeah, I think it's US 2.5, but it's a 3 millimeter needle. And I just really I tried the 3.5, and I didn't like the fabric that it made. It was a little too sloppy on my foot. So I decided to go back to what I was normally doing, and then I just kind of tag it as Bear Paw every single time. So I finished one sock. I'm knitting these for my daughter-in-law. I'm knitting for one of my daughter-in-laws. I have two, soon to have three. I'm knitting it with White Barn Farm Boysenberry stripe in the Ramble base. It's a 2-ply sock, so it's a 80% Cornwall Corriedale and 20% nylon. I've made a pair of socks. I'm holding 2 strands together because this is a fingering weight. So I'm holding 2 strands together to get the sock going, and this is the second sock. I'm on the foot right now. I use Flexi Flips, which is kind of a hybrid needle between Magic Loop, and it's the premise of Magic Loop, but on much shorter needles with this like very short wire that then ends up, you know, they're bendy, so you're able to knit in the round. And you only need 3 needles instead of 5 if you were doing double points. So I really love these I use these for sleeves and for socks, anything small circumference. I have a really big set of double points because I used to always use double points. I never really liked Magic Loop. I don't like pulling the cord at the end of each half, especially on a small. This is only 40 stitches, so it's a lot. It's 20 per needle, so yeah, it's too frequent to be yanking cord through, in my opinion. But if it works for you, awesome. So anyway, got a little bit of the next foot done. What was I saying? Oh, this yarn I have used in a pair of socks for me. I last knit last year, I think, and it's really squishy, soft. I really love it. This is really awesome yarn. I hope to see White Barn Farm sometime again soon, if I do see them at a festival, or if I happen to go. They're in upstate New York, so if I happen to drive upstate anytime soon, I think they have a yarn shop on their farm, if I'm not mistaken. I think so. So I may pick up some yarn. If they have True DK, I would be interested in that if it has nylon and I could use it for socks or silk. Silk, nylon. Silk would be the natural, nylon, or just a really tight high twist. So those are those socks. They're coming along. I'll probably have them done by the next time. Like I realize, like, if I just sit on my couch, if I knit them while sitting on my couch, I could be done with them very quickly, like probably in an evening, or 2 at the most. So I just really wanted that yellow sweater done. So I have, you saw maybe my cast on with me. So I have 2 new cast on actually to show you. One is not a big deal. The other one is a bigger project. One is a small project, I should say. It's something I am excited to have done, and it's kind of a weird time to me. It's a hat, but spoiler, it's a hat. Let me talk about this though first. This is a brand new cast on. It is the Ramble Raglan by Lydia Morrow that I am also cardiganizing. So I was inspired by Amy from Fat Squirrel Fibers. I mentioned this in my cast on with me. I recently did a cast on with me where I talked about the color choices and the cardiganization of this pattern. So this is actually a good way for you to see if you've never steeked a colorwork sweater, where you can see those 5 rows that I was talking about. So they're just a single stitch where you're just alternating whatever colors you're knitting with. So a row. And yeah, I am about halfway down the yoke. I think I have about 4 inches here. I probably need to get to about 8 or 8.5, maybe 9. I don't know. Haven't looked at that far ahead on the pattern. This is a 3-color. You can either do this pattern, I said it was Rumble Raglan by Lydia Morrow, right? You could either do this pattern. Well, you could do it however you like, of course, but Lydia gives you directions for 2 colors, using 2 colors or using 3 colors, and she gives you the yardages that you need. It is designed to be a short sleeve, like shirt sleeve length sweater. I'm hoping to have enough yardage to do a long sleeve, or at least maybe bracelet, or just past the, to the forearm, like to here, just because I think I'll get a little more wear out of it than if it's short sleeve. I have one short sleeve cardigan that's store-bought that I don't wear much. It's pretty. It's a yellow color, actually. It's not that color yellow, but it's like a more of a golden marigold, that color yellow. It's pretty. It's a good layering piece. So I decided to do 3 colors. As I said, I was inspired by Fat Squirrel, Amy from Fat Squirrel, And she did a cardigan version of the Ramble Raglan. And I just thought it was really a cool thing to do. And the other thing I really love about this pattern is that if you choose 3 colors, you just need 1 skein of each color for a lot of the sizes. Like I'm knitting size 3 right now. This is a pattern, I should say, too, that's where it's meant to be worn with a lot of negative ease, up to 10 inches of negative ease. The size that I chose for this one is going to give me not that much. I'll be less than 4 inches of negative ease, if any. I think I might be bang on, actually. Bang on, maybe a little. Maybe I have a little bit. I was actually... I can't do it now because I will end up sliding stitches off the needles, which I'm pretty close to doing that. But I was messing around with to see if the fit was good without being lazy, like not wanting to put it on another set of needles. And I was like sliding it around to see how it was going to fit across my bust line. And it's, I think I will have 36 inches across the full bust, and I'm a 37-inch bust, so that's just 1 inch of negative ease, so it's not a lot, not a huge amount, which I think as a cardigan it's going to look real cute because it will end up opening a little bit, like because of that inch, so I'll end up having about an inch wide opening, and it may even be less with depending on those button bands. So I think I'm really loving it. Sorry, I'm holding it so far away. I should be holding it closer so you can really get a close look. I talked about my color choices. I'm a little bit bummed that these 2 aren't more contrasty. I thought they would be. So I'm using let me just go through them. I'm using 2 strands together of Felix by La Bien Aimée in her colorway Floral Morganite, which the brightness you're seeing on screen is exactly what it is in life. And then I'm using 2 indie dyed skeins. This is also by La Bien Aimée. This is called Confetti Cake, and this one is by Voolenvine. This is by this is just a one of a kind. It turns out I looked it up either while I was editing or I think while I was editing the Cast On With Me, because I was wondering how long I've had this yarn in my stash. It's been in my stash since 2017, so this has been in my stash for almost 10 years. How scary is that? I have not purchased from Voolenvine in a long, long while, and I do have another couple skeins of her yarn in my stash. I had knit this into another pattern that's a languishing whip that stayed in a corner in a project bag for some time, and then I last summer I frogged it. I was just cleaning up my whip pile and I frogged the pattern, I frogged the project, and returned this to my stash. So that's one of the reasons why it's hung around. But yeah, pretty funny. This has been in my stash since 2020 or 2021, and this is newer stash. I think I bought this last winter, like winter 25. I think I bought at she does a warehouse sale a couple times a year, as I recall. I bought it at a sale. So at most, this has been in my stash maybe a year and a half. And I bought this to go with something else, to be knit into something else, and I ended up substituting something different, a different yarn, so this has been languishing. I have to say, I really, really love the way it knits up with the 2 strands together. It's really squishy, nice yarn, really gorgeous yarn. Would not hesitate to purchase that again if the opportunity presented itself. So what I was going to say is that I was a little bummed that the contrast between these 2, and like you're looking at them on screen next to each other, I guess in life they look more contrasty than they do on screen. This yarn, it turns out, is more of a variegated in terms of its gray, that oatmeal color. There's some stretches of it that are pretty light, and let me see if I can find you a section of right here. So if you look right there, see right there, right above my finger, it's so pale. It's just so pale. So the contrast gets pretty de minimis in those sections, but at first, like the first couple rows I did with just those 2 colors, I was like, uh-oh, I might have made a mistake. But I think I like it now. I think it's fine. I'm back to, now I'm doing, you can see this isn't connected, so I'm doing the confetti cake with the floral morganite. Because what you do is knit a certain number of rows with 2 colors, and then you swap out one of those colors and then knit a certain number of rows. And you can do whatever you like. Like, you can do whatever number of rows you want. Lydia gives you pretty specific directions for what she did for her 3 color, but for her 2 color, there's no directions. It's just knit as many rows as you want, and with the 2 colors, and then swap it out. So like some people are swapping, if it's 2 colors, they're just swapping the 2 colors, the positions of the 2 colors to create like a pattern. Like somebody did a pattern that was pretty close to a check. It's pretty cool. Like there's some really, like looking at the project pages is super inspirational. I highly recommend, like if you're interested in, if you're excited about this pattern at all or any of the things that I'm saying, go look at the project pages before you decide whether you're going to do 2 colors or 3 colors or anything else like that. There are some really, really inspiring, cool looking color blends and pattern mix-ups and stuff like that. But I'm pretty happy with this. I do really love the neutral and brights together, neons and neutrals. Amy Labina May made a book about that actually. But I think it's going to be something that I will reach for again and again, especially, as I said, in those transition times. And it's just so fun to knit with bright yarns after winter, as like we're emerging into spring. First day of spring was yesterday. So as we're like entering spring time, and as I was saying about the self-striping, like the psychology of knitting stripes, I can't remember when I said this, but recently, it's gonna propel me forward. The knitting those stripings. I'm pretty sure for the yoke, I'll do like this whole next section, because this is in this particular layout of the pattern. I'm doing the seam. Each stripe combo is the same width, so it's a certain number of rows, and then I switch out a color, and then it's a certain number of rows, and same certain number of rows, and then I switch out a color. I'm just trying to be sensitive to the fact that it's a paid for pattern, so I don't want to share too much. I give too much away about the pattern. Yeah, because you need to support the designers and their work. So anyway, very excited to get this moving and to be continuing to knit something bright and cheerful. Yeah. Okay. I have one more whip to share with you, and then I will jump into spinning. Okay. I cast on a hat. And I actually went looking for this yarn. So I am knitting this, this beautiful bright blue is by the company Cardiff. It's cashmere. It's a cashmere classic, which is supposed to be a DK weight. It feels thinner. I did not swatch. I just cast on. I know it looks really small, but there's a lot of stitches gathered up here on my needles. It's just, cashmere is a fine yarn, so with a lot of drape and not a lot of body. So I'm assuming I'm gonna be okay. I do know, like when I make hats, like using a 16-inch needle, which is what I have this on, and having it a little bunched up is pretty much the MO. I haven't made a hat in a while, but that's pretty much how it goes. The hat pattern, in case you're wondering, is by Nordland. It is the Soda Pop hat, inspired by the the K-pop movie. I think that's the name, right? I'll give you the info on screen if I got that wrong. But you do a top down, and you cast on, I used Judy's Magic Loop, where you pull the string, the end, and it closes it up. So the first several rounds I was working on double points, actually, because I couldn't. She recommends you work on double points, so I didn't have enough width here to fit on even the flexi flips. I'm knitting on very small needles. These are US size 2, and it's a 2x2 rib pattern. I didn't modify the pattern at all. I'm just working away. I'm making the smallest size because I tend to need the smallest size. So hopefully I'm not frogging this because it's too small. We'll see. I think it's going to be fine. There's actually so much fabric. I know it doesn't look like it, but there's so much fabric on it. Looks like a baby size, right? But part of that is that you're increasing here. So the top of the hat is supposed to be smaller. But I am done increasing, so I know, crazy, right? I also hope it blooms a bit, this yarn. As I said, I didn't swatch. So I do hope it blooms a bit because it is a little see-through, even on US size 2s, which I think it will bloom. I was interested so what inspired me? I really wanted a blue hat for the spring, and I thought that cashmere would be like the pattern is written for a strand of fingering with a strand of mohair. The pattern was written that way, so I knew I could use a DK and be fine, and I also knew that a slightly, a little bit of a halo would be also good for this pattern. So so that's where I'm at. I just picked this up and knit on it a little bit here and there. Probably what I think my intention will be to finish the socks, because that's a small project and this is a small project, and then this will be my next small project that I take with me to work and then work on a little bit while I'm home, or take with me when I go out I'm going to the dentist on Monday, actually. Okay, spinning. I have a little bit of a spinning project that I'm a little partway through, more than half, I guess. No, half. I'd say half. I have a clip, so go ahead and watch the clip. Okay, I'm planning my next spin, even though I'm not near done with the latest spin. This is the way my head works. I always am thinking ahead. What's next? What's next? So these are the 12 little mini vats that I got in my Bramble Ridge Metamorphosis butterfly and moth themed. Look at that. So pretty. These are stickers. Countdown calendar from December 2025. And so what I did just now was I put them together in likely pairs, but they're each about 25 grams. So I could do 100 gram skeins. So by putting, 4 together. So I'm going to unwrap them right now because this is the way they were in the bag. So I'm going to uncoil them and see what they actually look like, and then figure out how to put them together. I do want to do 3 100 gram skeins instead of 4 50 gram skeins, or 12 25 gram skeins. Some of them are just so awesome. I love this one. And wow, that pop of that swampy chartreuse color. Oh, so good. So good. So I'm trying to decide whether I want to do tonal or contrast, but they're really lovely, and I think I'll end up with 3 really gorgeous skeins. I'm so glad I opened them up, because the ones that I thought were oddballs are actually working really well. So I thought this bright orange to burgundy piece may stick out and not really go, but it actually goes really well with this one right next to it. And then these two are like kind of the subtle, like very warm toned, and I think a little bit of pops of turquoise in there, which could be really fun. So I think this is definitely a winner. And what I'll do, I'll talk more about this later, but I think, or maybe I won't, I don't know. I'm gonna hope that I will. I think what I'm gonna do is split the braids and, make small pieces so that it's really a mix of the colors, I think. Unless I can figure out some way to do like a gradient, maybe end to end. There may be a way. I'll figure that out. Okay. And then my second batch is this one. I mean, these two at the top just look like they're meant to go together with this pop of orange and these shades of blue, and then continuing pop of orange with that chartreuse color into turquoise, and then a black pop in there. Definitely go together. And then this looks like just a lighter version of this, more white, right? Same thing. And then to finish off that 100 grams, I pulled the mostly blue gradations, which looks like it goes with that quite well, right? So that, I think, is a winner. Again, I just have to figure out how to spin it. And so that brings me to this last grouping of this like really rich emerald green to turquoise braid with this like mint with pops of rust and some black. Then this one, which also has the rust and turquoise and black. So that's a winner. And then this one's kind of an oddball because it's pastel-y. It's very muted. Shades of like ballet pink with cream and then sage and black in there. But I think it goes. I think it goes together. I just hope this particular mix doesn't end up being too muddy as I mix the colors together, because these are already, this one's pretty muddy and this one has like a muddy end. So we'll see how it goes. But this is the plan. We'll see what happens. All right, so this is the blue mix. Oh, it's so squishy and pretty. It's just so pretty. I have no plans for it, as I often don't with my spinning. It turned out to be a heavy fingering / sport weight. I think I have a little over 400 yards. No, 300 and little over 360, around 360, maybe 358, something like that, in terms of the yardage, and it's 105 grams, the skein. So it is pretty much sport weight, but really, really fun. I'm working on the red blend now. I have 2 bobbins. I have the third bobbin is on my spinning wheel. So these are the 2 bobbins. I'm calling it red, but I really think it's going to be more of a peachy color. And I think I explained, did I explain in that clip? No, I didn't. I did not explain in the clip what I was doing. So what I ended up doing with the bobbins, I have 2 bobbins. So I took each strip of roving, which was only about this long, and I divided them into 3, and I did that with 4 colors, each one divided into 3 parts for 3 bobbins, because I like to make 3 plies. And then I took, for 2 bobbins, I further took the strip, I weighed them all to make sure they were all, that I had an even amount of fleece for each bobbin, so more or less. And they all ended up being like 35. This is like for 35 grams of fiber on a bobbin. And then I took 2 bobbins. What I did was I took that strip, those 4 strips, and split them again. So then I had 8 strips, and then I spun them in the same order so each, like one 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I did 1, 2, 3, 4. So I did that order on 2 of the bobbins, and then the third bobbin, which in this case is this one, I took the strips and divided them into 3 or more. Some of them I just had more, so I ended up making 4 strips, and then I just randomly spun that bobbin. So, oops, sorry about that. Hope that wasn't too loud for you. So that, like, this is the one that's got the more random spinning on there, and this is the one that was the 4 strips in a particular order, which I'm now doing that same order with the third bobbin. So I'll have 2 bobbins that are kind of identical. I mean, they're not an equal amount necessarily, because 1, I'm not a machine spinning at the same pace through the whole thing, and 2, each strip of the fiber may have been divided slightly differently, so they won't match up quite identically. But that's what I did with this, and you can really see the variability in the yarn that I got. This group had a lot that had black in it, so I have a section or 2 that have a lot of black. There was one section as I was spinning it that I saw that was primarily black, which I think you can kind of see there. But the overall feel of this is definitely blue, like this really gorgeous bright blue. And kudos to Megan from Bramble Ridge, who provided the dyed fleece as an advent. I mean, I bought it from her. She provided the creativity. I paid her for the advent, and enjoyed opening a little fiber bump every other day of December for the countdown. And it is 100% Ramble. I think I may have said that at some point in maybe one of the clips. But kudos to her, because there was absolutely no bleeding happening with this fiber, which blues tend to, especially bright blues, tend to really bleed quite a lot, and black does too. There was none. A little bit of color seepage in the water, but not much, and none of it got... I mean, I take precautions. I use citric acid whenever I am putting yarn or fiber in water for the first time. I'll throw about a half a cup into a 5-gallon bucket of citric acid to set colors, so that my colors stay nice and bright, and if there is some bleeding that's happening, that the bleeding doesn't go onto the other colors. I've been burned, especially with yellow. So yellow is super fragile. When you put yellow in with anything that's going to bleed, it's going to suck it right up. So it's kind of a fragile color when it comes to washing. And I didn't have any trouble at all with this. Actually, it may be the white might be looking kind of pink because it picked up pink in the wash. That might have been what happened. Although both of these are hand spun, I don't think I used citric acid because it was hand spun. I had already washed them pretty thoroughly. So anyway, that might be what happened though. I don't mind it though. It's not all that noticeable. So yeah, anyway, I use citric acid. That's my trick. Not the color catchers. Those really don't work. Little bit of citric acid, which you can buy in powder form or liquid form. I buy a bag of powder for a few dollars. You can buy it at anywhere where they sell like canning supplies, like to make preservatives. It's food safe. I think vinegar would also work, although you'd need pretty high strength, because you need that acid, a high acid, which will really keep your colors bright. But even despite that, I can't remember if I probably did toss them in, but even so, I would see a lot of color in the water if I was gonna, even though the yarn didn't pick it up. There just really wasn't a lot, so I was super impressed with that. I'll be cautious with these other ones too, just because I want to keep the colors light and bright as they are, as we're seeing them now, and not let them get muddy by the dye commingling and stuff. So yeah, that's where I'm at with that. That is my crafting. So quick kitchen update. Since I last spoke to you, the contractor has been here every day, doing a little bit here and a little bit there. A few days ago, I got my cabinets delivered, but it's really like, I don't know. I really think I have a contractor who can't walk and chew gum at the same time. That's really what it boils down to. Like, he just can't seem to multitask. He waffled on starting to hang the cabinet. So I have, and he's not wrong. Like, but it's hard not to hear everything he says as an excuse. So he decided to wait to hang the cabinets on the wall. Now, my kitchen is small. In the design, there's a big section. It's 3 walls. The kitchen is 3 walls and one big opening into it. One of the walls is going to have a pretty big, like 5-foot long, counter height bar that I can sit down at on a stool and do prep work, or I can eat there. So there's room for 2 people to sit. And maybe it's not 5 feet. It might be 4 feet. Yeah, because there's just room for 2. So it's 4 feet. On that back cabinet or back wall, a cabinet is sitting in the corner on top of that counter. So he decided, because of that, I'll put the pictures in here so you understand what I'm saying. Because of that, he's not going to hang any of the wall cabinets until he gets the counters in, and then can put that cabinet on top of the counter and then make sure that they all line up. Which, the kitchen, my building is pre-war, so all the walls are crooked somehow, or a little, there's different heights, blah, blah, blah. I bought crown molding as part of the package. I bought crown molding that's supposed to be forgiving and help mitigate that difference in perhaps the height across the room, around the room. And then there's also, of course, the toe kick, where you can either raise or lower if the floor is crooked. And he didn't 100%, but as best he could, he evened the floor out, because the floors are crooked in this whole apartment, because of the nature of how old the building is, and old building techniques and stuff too. So, I love it. This building is solid. Like, one thing I learned from this whole process is how solidly this building is built. Because he stripped the walls right down to the outer walls, and we were able to see the layers. It was pretty cool. It was pretty interesting. Like, I was able to see the layers inside, outside, everything. Like, yeah, so I have no doubt that this is a well-built building. But it's crooked. There's crookedness to it. So anyway, he won't put up any of the wall cabinets, any of them, even though in my mind, like, okay, sure, don't do the ones across that one wall, and maybe like it does make a corner, and maybe it's gonna look weird if they're off a bit, and he certainly doesn't want to hang them once and then hang them again, like have to rejigger how they're hung. But he could certainly do one wall. The majority of the cabinets, as I was saying, like, because of the counter height seating area I have, and I have a window bench, because of that, there's mostly wall cabinets. So now that kitchen, between his equipment and the boxes of cabinets everywhere, it's crazy. Like, you can't even move in there. So I think tomorrow's Monday, it's Sunday. So tomorrow I don't think that he's coming, because I don't think there's anything for him to do, because the next thing to happen is the countertop fabricator comes and takes the measurements for the countertops. I picked the stone. He just needs to know how much stone he needs, and then that gets moved from the. They're like down the street from each other. They're like a town away from each other, the fabricator and the stone yard. So, and I picked a stone yard that he works with. So the fabricator works with. So the fabricator's coming Tuesday. He's going to take all the measurements, and then we wait for the countertops. So I'm in like another period where I'm just freaking waiting. Like a whole nother week is going to slide by with nothing happening. And he told me to buy the paint because he's like, oh, I'll paint in the meantime. There's no way they can paint in the meantime unless they do it Tuesday when they come and clear out they have to clear out all the wall cabinets so that the guy can take the measurements. And I guess they're piling it all in the hallway. I don't know. I haven't been here as they move things around. I'm sorry. There's like a yippy dog yapping right now. So I hope you're not hearing that. It's really loud. So that's where I'm at. I mean, things are moving. I got my sink. I got my faucet. Oh, I love my sink. I love my faucet. I had to have the sink in order for the cabinet or countertops to get cut properly. So the fabricator's going to actually take the sink with him to his shop so he can cut the right size and then bring it back. Of course, the faucet's gorgeous. I bought it from this small company in Chicago that makes brass faucets. It's really hard to find faucets that are all brass and not a lot of plastic parts, because then, like, if you bought a faucet recently and installed it, they break pretty quick now, like within a few years. And this man's faucets are supposed to last like 20 years before you have any sort of problems with them. So it's beautiful. I'll show you when everything's installed and stuff, and I'll talk more about it then and share the source and stuff. But if you're dying to know the source, if you're also about to do a kitchen renovation, he only does kitchen faucets. I wish he did bathroom faucets, because I would totally buy all my faucets and fixtures from him. If you're interested, ask me in the comments and I'll share the name of the company. So that is where I'm at. I hope you're doing well. I hope that your knitting is bringing you joy. Mine certainly is. I'm really enjoying my projects quite a lot right now. And I want to say too, a little shout out to getting organized and listing things on making a list for yourself. That really helped me. I don't know if you've ever done that. I know some of my friends are very good about that, getting organized and organizing their yarn and getting the design queued up and stuff. But having that organized list that I made back in January or early Feb really has helped me stay focused and stay on track with my knitting projects. So I pretty much know what my next cast on is going to be after this. Like, I can kind of see the path that I'm going to take with all my knitting from now till certainly the end of the summer, early fall. I'm not saying there might not be subtle shifts here and there, but yeah, it's been really nice to see a list and be like, yes, check. I have one done out of my 12 projects that I listed, which that list has now gotten a little bigger. Just because I realized there was other yarn and projects I had in mind that I didn't put down on that list. So I think it's 14 projects long, which I'm not committed to finishing all those this year. I'm just committed to knitting them all. So and I may change my mind too on some of them. We'll see. But it certainly gives me a roadmap, which is awesome. So anyway, hope your knitting's bringing you joy, and if you like organizing, you might like that organizational tip. I did a little short on that. Yes, enjoy your next couple weeks, and I will see you again real soon. Take care. Bye.
Thank you.